Hi, I'm a Possum and I find garbage. Today's garbage is a Minecraft movie. You know what Minecraft is? It's a game your girlfriend's kids play. Everything's cute because it has a voxel-based engine and simple graphics that enable it to run on practically any hardware, which makes it extremely accessible to even the children of the worst parents in the world. This combined with its do-anything sandbox gameplay make it really popular with children. It's also really popular with predators. I don't know why. There's no xenomorphs to kill in it. Maybe it's because of all the autism genes they harvested from us.
A lot of experts say that being on the spectrum isn't really a disorder. It's actually the next step in the evolutionary chain.
But what's important is I'm not a fan of Minecraft and I ain't never played it, so I'm not going to be judging this movie as an adaptation of the game, but on its own merits as a movie which could be summarized as, hey, remember this from the game? Here's Jason Momoa falling down again. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. It's hard to get mad at this movie just because I had no expectations and it seems to know how dumb it is and leans into it. But you get the sense no one who worked on it cared and just screwed around and had fun with it. At the audience's expense, of course. If you've ever seen kids playing because you have your own kids, or you've ever babysat, or, in my case, you have neighbors with really loud kids who leave their crap all over your lawn, and you've seen how they just make up a game as they go and roleplay, that's what watching this movie feels like. Except it's two men in their 40s and 50s. So why does this movie exist? Well, after so many huge flops, I guess superhero movies are finally on the way out, and now it's going to be all about the video game movies for the next 15 years. Paramount proved they could be profitable with Sonic the Hedgehog, then Universal opened the floodgates with Super Mario Bros. Then we got Five Nights at Freddy's and Mortal Kombat. Not all of them were hits, of course, like Borderlands. That was a massive flop. But I think it would have at least made its money back regardless of how bad it was if it came out 5 years earlier, when people still cared about that franchise, and if it didn't have the most baffling casting choices imaginable. Regardless, it seems like video game movies are the next big fad, so the Minecraft movie is the type of thing we're going to be subjected to for the foreseeable future. Before I get started, let me preempt the arguments that I know I'm going to get from the type of people who can't rotate an apple in their minds, and who always feel the need to defend slop like this for whatever reason. It's not meant to be high art. Just turn your brain off and enjoy it. First of all, no one has ever said, just turn your brain off, in defense of anything that was actually good. Second, if you're not expected to think about what you're watching, then why even watch it? There are millions of other things I could do which also don't require my active attention. You might as well just scroll through TikTok if all you're looking for is mindless dopamine poison that demands nothing from you. At least that's free. It's a kid's movie. It doesn't have to be good. Yes, there are people still making this stupid argument in 2025. I've gotten comments like that on my review of Mufasa, which is especially stupid because that movie is part of the same franchise as The Lion King, which is a high-quality movie enjoyable for both children and adults, so it's obviously not unreasonable to expect more from a kids movie. And why should we lower our standards for kids movies anyway? When did we, as a society, decide that children don't deserve good things? What, just because children have underdeveloped critical faculties and therefore have lower standards, that means we should just give them mindless slop that rots their brains and makes them dumber? Do you, as parents, not curate what your children are exposed to? The people who make these kinds of arguments are the same people who use smartphones as babysitters, and then wonder why their kids' grades are so bad. Terrible people who are as stupid as they are immoral. I don't respect them. Look, there's absolutely no reason that a Minecraft movie has to be bad. We know it's possible to make a decent or even good movie for kids based on something for kids, because it's been done before. We don't have to just put our lips on the sludge pipe and swallow whatever Hollywood shoves through it. You're allowed to have standards, and we should have standards. We should have some self-respect and not just slap our flippers together whenever some corporation jingles some keys. I've seen videos of people cheering at this movie, but that wasn't my theater experience at all. There was a mix of people of different ages, mostly parents with kids, and the theater was dead silent for the most part. I might have heard someone laugh a few times, but that's about it. I myself didn't laugh at anything. The Minecraft movie doesn't offer much for anyone who isn't a fan of the game, so you might say, well, of course it didn't appeal to you. This is a movie for Minecraft fans. But I've seen movie adaptations of games I've never played, books I've never read, and so on, and some of them stand on their own. There's really no excuse for the Minecraft movie to not be able to do the same. As far as I know, the game doesn't even have a story, so they could have just made up whatever they wanted, but they just gave us a trite MacGuffin plot with obnoxious one-note characters. Speaking of which, there's a character who tries to be hip with the kids by talking like a TikTok zoomer, even though he's voiced by the 46-year-old director of this movie. His name's Chungus, and he calls people bro and even says unalive at one point. It's the modern equivalent of a 90s movie having a character who rides a skateboard and raps. Fortunately, he's only in 3 or 4 scenes before he's killed or replaced by a giant pig who, mercifully, doesn't talk. Yeah, for some reason, the bad guys are a race of square pig people from the in-universe equivalent of hell. I don't know if they're even from the game. What I know about through cultural osmosis are the Creepers and Enderman, who appear as minor characters in this movie. And when Enderman appears, the movie treats it like he's the scariest thing ever, but the kid defeats him by wildly swinging an axe or whatever he had, because they just filmed the actor in front of a green screen and he had no idea where Enderman was supposed to be. And Enderman makes no attempt to avoid getting hit until he dies. And that's another thing. The laziness of the filmmakers pervades this movie. This might be the type of thing only I notice, but there's at least one part where the characters are talking and the light is exactly the same on both sides. What I mean is, it'll show one character talking with a backlight, and then show the other character talking in the reverse shot and they also have a backlight. As if both characters have the sun behind them while they're facing each other, which shouldn't be possible unless there were 2 suns. I suspect whatever happened was they just filmed one side of the conversation in front of a green screen, then filmed the other side without taking the time to move the lights and just use the exact same setup. And that's just lazy. I would call it disrespectful to the audience, but again, I'm probably the only one who noticed, so really, it was just disrespectful specifically to me. Even the story is lazy. The movie is very light on plot. It's a typical MacGuffin story where the bad guy wants to get a magic thing to do something bad, so the good guys have to keep them from getting it. The story is little more than a series of dumb jokes interspersed with references to the game. And I guess just to fill up time, there's an entire subplot about a school principal meeting a villager from the Minecraft world who looks like he's made of spam, and going on a date with him. But it has no relevance to the story and only exists so they can cut away to it whenever they can't figure out how to segue from one scene to another. This movie also takes a lazy approach to humor. Just about every line has some kind of joke, and just about every action is some kind of gag. And it becomes an issue of quantity over quality. Very few of the jokes land because nothing is ever set up for a payoff. Instead, a character will just blurt out something stupid and expect you to laugh. It's like if an entire movie was made of dad jokes. There's no cleverness or wit. No thought or effort was put into anything. The movie doesn't take itself seriously at all, often to its own detriment. There's nothing to latch onto to make you care about these characters or this world. It's just a bunch of stuff happening, and it almost feels like it's just Jack Black and Jason Momoa LARPing the whole time. Like you're just watching 2 guys screw around with a video game. Some of you might say that sounds appropriate for a Minecraft movie, but that just puts it on the level of a really expensive Let's Play video on YouTube. You might as well just watch one of those for free instead of spending $12 on a movie ticket. And since I brought up the actors, Jack Black plays himself. They have him sing a couple songs, I guess because he sang that one song as Bowser in the Mario movie and everyone loved it, but that was Bowser. It's funny to see Bowser sing a ridiculous love ballad about Princess Peach, and that's why it became a meme. None of the songs Jack Black sings in this movie are meme-worthy. I know they tried to force some memes like Chicken Jockey and Flint and Steel, but that's cringe and I think most people can see through it. Have you ever seen a movie and just forgot about it as soon as it was over? That can happen for a number of reasons, but often it's because the movie doesn't say anything new or interesting. In other words, it has weak themes. This movie tries to do the same thing as the Lego Movie, where its central theme is all about the importance of creativity, but it does it in a much dumber and less nuanced way. The Lego Movie is all about the conflict between people who create spontaneously and those who value order and stick to instructions, and how these are both valid ways to play with Legos. But the way Minecraft approaches the theme of creativity is they have a handful of characters build houses out of blocks a few times, and then the villain just hates creative expression of any kind. There's never a moment where a character who's used to following directions has to learn to do something spontaneously, or anything like that. And the extent of the creativity is they put a bunch of random items together to spawn whatever that makes arbitrarily, like the crafting system of a video game. That's not being creative, that's just using trial and error to figure out what combination of actions results in a response pre-programmed by a developer. But I suppose it should come as no surprise that the Minecraft movie's understanding of creativity is so shallow because the people who made the Minecraft movie made the Minecraft movie. But of course, the themes of a story don't even matter if the story that serves as the vehicle for those themes doesn't carry them. This is where writing quality becomes an issue. From what little I remember of this movie after having just seen it, it has quite a few plot holes. There's a part where Jack Black sends his pet wolf, Dennis, to the real world just before he gets captured and chained up in a dungeon for several years, and he tells Dennis to hide the MacGuffin under his waterbed. But then Jason Momoa buys Jack Black's storage unit at an auction, and that's how he ends up with the MacGuffin. When did all of Jack Black's stuff end up in a storage unit? Who put it there? Also, when Jack Black sends Dennis through a portal with the MacGuffin and then gets captured because he can't just run through it even though he was right there, the bad guys later tell him they have Dennis and hold up his collar to trick him, and they threaten to kill the wolf if he doesn't help them get the MacGuffin. But then, later in the movie, these two other characters find Dennis in the woods and realize he's Jack Black's wolf because he's wearing a collar with a name tag. When did Dennis get a new collar? If the bad guys have his collar and could show it to Jack Black, then logic dictates that Dennis shouldn't have the collar anymore, right? Just let me point out that this movie has 8 people with writer credits on IMDb. I mean, that's always a huge red flag. Aside from showing that the movie lacked a singular vision, it was the combined and often contradictory ideas of a bunch of different people. When a big movie has so many writer credits, that usually means it went through multiple revisions after they had already started production. In other words, it's a symptom of executive meddling. It's not just plot holes, but bizarre storytelling decisions. In most movies that have some sort of magical world, you don't see it until the end of the first act, roughly a third or sometimes even halfway into the runtime. That might sound weird if you don't know screenplay structure, but see for yourself. In The Matrix, Neo doesn't wake up in the real world until 32 minutes in. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, you don't even see Hogwarts until 40 minutes in. In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they don't even get to the Chocolate Factory until the midpoint. This is because the movies are building up to these reveals. Everything before that is all set up, and you get little hints of what's to come before it happens. Now, this isn't universally true. In Jurassic Park, they go to the island and see the first dinosaur about 20 minutes in, but that's because a lot of stuff happens before the actual plot kicks off around the midpoint. There are a lot of things that need to be explained to the audience first. The Minecraft movie makes no attempt at building up any sort of reveal. It just shows up the Minecraft world right out of the gate by starting with a prologue, where Jack Black explains the entire premise of the movie in 5 minutes before it even really starts. Now, I'm not saying that prologues are always bad, but this movie really didn't need one and could have easily been rewritten so that information is drip-fed to the audience over time, especially considering Jack Black's character is basically a tour guide for the other characters and an exposition fairy for the audience anyway. All this prologue did was rob the movie of the impact of the reveal of the Minecraft world. Just so I could squeeze one more ad break onto this video, let's talk about Rotten Tomatoes scores. No one seems to understand them or what they mean. The critic score just represents the percentage of critics who even slightly lean toward liking a movie. That's it. It has nothing to do with how they actually rated it. It's essentially a like to dislike ratio, leaving no room for nuanced opinions. The problem with this is it doesn't tell you anything about what the critics actually thought of the movie, and is actually misleading because the way it works, if every single critic rated a movie 6 out of 10, then it would show up as 100% on Rotten Tomatoes just because all of them said it was just good enough for them to not give it a 5. So you can't glean any real information from a Rotten Tomatoes score. It's actually less than worthless. What does this have to do with the Minecraft movie? Nothing. Now here's a challenge for my audience. In the comments below, tell me what video game world you would not want to get sucked into. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and if you already subscribed, then check my channel for other videos you may have missed since YouTube doesn't always tell you when I upload. Leave a comment for the algorithm and send me your fan art and support me on Patreon. The link's in the pinned comment. Bye.